Hello students, good morning. Hope everyone is doing well. Welcome to the class. So we are in the animal world. So in the animal world already we have covered what? We have covered the non-chordates, isn't it? So now today we are moving into the world of chordates. So before moving into each and every categories, first let us categorize them. Let us classify them so that it will become easy, okay? So when you are classifying these chordates, phylum Chordata can be put under three subphylums. What are the three subphylums? The first one is Urochordata, the second one is Cephalochordata, and the third one is your Vertebrata. Okay. So Urochordata, Cephalochordata, and Vertebrata. Right. Now this characteristics of each we will be learning. Just we are categorizing them. Okay. Now this Vertebrata, when you see, can be divided into two groups again. Two divisions or two groups, two categories. One is Agnatha and another one is Gnathostomata. Okay. One which is not having the jaw, we call it as, we put them under a group called as what? Agnatha. And which is bearing the jaw, we put it under Gnathostomata. Okay. And this Agnatha, when you are seeing, there is a class. Okay. So next is your superclass. This Gnathostomata is having jaws and it can be categorized into two superclasses. So what are they? One is pisces and the second one is pteropoda. Okay. So the pisces, you know, it's fish, isn't it? So they are having fins. And this pteropoda, they have limbs. What they have? They have limbs. Okay. So this pisces again can be categorized into two classes. So what are the two classes? One is Chondrichthyes and another one is Osteichthyes. Okay. So Chondrichthyes and Osteichthyes, what is the difference? These fishes are Chondrichthyes, when you are seeing, they are made up of cartilage, and Osteichthyes, they are made up of bones. Okay. So here they are made up of cartilage and this one they are made up of bones, right? Pteropoda, you know, there are different classes. What are the different classes? Amphibia, Reptilia, Apes and Mammalia. One by one we will be discussing with example. Agnatha, when you are seeing, they are having one class. That class is what is called as Cyclostomata. They don't have a super class, rather they have one class called as what? Cyclostomata. So we will be discussing each and every category one by one. So let's move into the world of chordates. Go.
So chordata. Chordata, if you are saying, what is the characteristic features of chordates? So chordates are having what? The backbone, right? So they are having a structure called as notochord, and they also have dorsal nerve cord. They are rod-like structures. These dorsal nerve cord or notochord are what? They are rod-like structures. Like here you can find the mark, the point, okay, dorsal nerve cord, notochord. So these are what? These are the cord, rod-like structure which are present on these animals. So their chordates possess this notochord, dorsal nerve cord are present in chordates. Then they have pharyngeal gill slits. So this one is the gill slits. So this gill slits are also, which is helping in breathing, gills are also present in these animals which are living in water. They respire with the help of this gill slits. So that is present in these animals, right? That is the second characteristics. Third is that they are bilaterally symmetrical. Bilaterally means what? You can divide this animal into two equal halves only through one plane. That is like this only you can divide. You cannot divide it like in any other plane. Only one plane you can divide this animal. So that is bilateral symmetry discussed. Triploplastic means they have three dermal layer. What are they? Ectoderm, endoderm and mesoderm. And they are coelomate means they have a body cavity which is filled with coelom. Okay. And organ system means they are having well developed organs with connecting different organs. The organ system is well developed within them. And they have post-anal tail means they are having tail. Okay, so this is post-anal tail is also present where in the chordates, right? So that is the next characteristics. Post-anal means backside. Pre means what? The front. Post means back, right? Now, circulatory system is closed. Closed means what? They contain blood vessels like arteries, veins, capillaries are present. So, through that only the blood will be flowing, not like open where the blood is just flowed into the open spaces, not like that. Okay. So, these are the characteristic features of what? These chordates. Now, when you are saying this chordata is divided into three. So, what are they? One is Cephalochordata, Urochordata and vertebrata, right? Now, what is cephalochordata characteristics? So, when you are seeing the cephalochordata, notochord from the anterior till the posterior, means from the front till the back you can find the notochord is present and it is persisting. Okay, throughout the life. In the larval stage also you can find, as well as when they grow older, adult also are having the notochord. In that case, I categorize them under which one? Cephalochordata. Like for example, Amphioxus, this is cephalochordata. They are having notochord. From the anterior position till the posterior one, they are having what? They are having the notochord, and it is persisting throughout their life. Urochordata. These chordates, when you are seeing, notochord is present, not like not chordates. They do not have notochord. Here they are having notochord, but only where in the tail region, that too in the larval stage, not throughout the life. During the larval stage, on the tail region, the notochord is seen. Okay, so this is example for what? This urochordata, where you can find what? The notochord is seen during the larval stages. Example is given, sulfa. Okay, now moving on to this vertebrata. Next is what? Subphylum vertebrata. So 3 subphylum we have seen. One is cephalochordata, urochordata, subphylum vertebrata. Now, when you are seeing this under chordata, all these are falling under what? Chordates. Okay, vertebrata. What are the characteristics? Possess notochord during embryonic stage. Later it will be replaced by what? The backbone or cartilaginous vertebral column. We call now vertebral column the backbone is present. The notochord is replaced by the backbone when we grow up. Okay, so in the embryonic stage the notochord is there. Later that gets modified into cartilaginous bony structure called as what? Vertebral column. Then muscular heart, the heart is present in these vertebrates. Can be 2-chambered in some, like fishes, can be 3-chambered like in amphibians, and can be 4-chambered like in mammals. Okay, so chambers of heart varies from organism to organism in vertebrates. Now, excretion is usually by kidney, and they are having appendages. Appendages means what? Legs. Okay, legs or the parts which are helping in movement. So, what are present? In case of fishes, it will be what? Fins. And in case of other animals, terrestrial animals, when you are seeing, limbs are used for. Forelimbs as well as the hind limbs is used for moving from one place to another. Okay, so this is regarding subphylum vertebrata. Class CYCLOSTOMATA. Now, it is coming under what? Agatha. Now, ectoparasite. What do you mean by the term ectoparasite? Outside the organism, they will be living, taking the food from outside, sucking things from outside a living on host body. They will be sucking the things out. So, that one we call it as what? Ectoparasite. Another one is endoparasite. They live inside the body of the host and they take food from them. Then endo. If it is from outside, they are taking the nourishment, the food and all, then we call it as ecto. Okay, so like ectoparasite, they live on some fishes, and body has 6 to 15 pairs of gill slits for respiration. They are having gill slits for what? Respiration. Like for example, this is okay. Lampreys, when you are seeing, it is coming under cyclostomata. Circular or sucking mouth parts, and they do not have what? The jaws. You can find circular, these mouth parts, they don't have jaw. Jaw means, you know, upper jaw, lower jaw is not present, they suck. Okay, so that is again one characteristics. Body is without scales of fins and all will be absent. Endoskeleton. Endoskeletons means the skeletal system which is made inside the body. When you are seeing the skeletal system is cartilaginous. Cartilaginous means what? They are made up of cartilage. Cartilage are softer bones, like in our ears, in the nose and all, you can find cartilage is present, isn't it? Which can move, which is flexible, which is not like hard as bone. So they are cartilaginous in nature. The skeleton is cartilaginous in nature, and they are having closed circulatory system. We have discussed. What do you mean by closed circulatory system? Blood vessels and all will be present, right? So blood vessels, like arteries, veins, capillaries are present. They are marine but migrate to fresh water for swimming. So what do you mean by migrating to fresh water? Mostly they live in salt water, but for laying eggs they migrate to what? The freshwater region, and after migrating to the freshwater region they cannot live for long, they die. Okay, after laying the eggs they die. So that process we call it as what? Swawning is laying eggs. Clear? For that they come to what? The fresh water. So these are the characteristic feature of what? Cyclostomata. Now moving on to the next one, we are going to discuss under Gnathostomata pieces. Two categories are there, one is chondrichthyes and another one is osteichthyes. First, chondrichthyes class. Okay, so the fishes like this, this is the scales, sawfish, electric ray fish, TRYGON. So these are all coming under chondrichthyes. Okay, so they are marine animals, marine, salt water. Streamlined body. Streamlined means what? The ends will be tapering. Okay, tapering means it will be like this. It will not be like blunt. It will be like sharp. Okay, so this ends we call it as what? Streamlined, so that in the water they can easily pierce through. Just like that, they can pierce through water and get in. Okay, so mostly they are having what? Streamlined body. Okay, that is next characteristics. Endoskeleton is cartilaginous, means they are made up of cartilage. Mouth is ventral, like our dorsal is the back side, ventral is the front, this side. So two sides are there, right? Dorsal and ventral. So usually the mouth will be present on the ventral side, right? In these chondrichthyes. Notochord is present throughout life. Gill slits are separated and without operculum. No opening is there. Okay, just throughout you can find the gills are present, but not specific opening called as what? Operculum is absent in case of what? This chondrichthyes. Okay, so this is example for what? This chondrichthyes. This is an example for chondrichthyes. They do have gills, but they do not have the opening called as operculum. Skin is covered by placoid scale. You can see this type of scales, we call it as microscopic view, placoid scales. What do we call the shape? We give the name placoid scales. Okay, and teeth are modified scales are forming what? They are forming teeth, and these teeth are directed backwards, so they will be present like back side. Okay, so inside somewhat like that. Then heart is two-chambered heart. Okay, one auricle and one ventricle. Air bladder is absent. There is no air sacs present within these fishes, so they have to keep swimming, because if the air bladder is there, they can rest for some time. Why they can rest for some time? Because they, if you are at all they are resting, this air bladder will not allow the fish to get drowned in water. They will be floating. But in case of this air bladder is absent, they have to swim most of the time in order to keep them floating, so that they don't sink in water. Okay, cold-blooded animal, right? They are cold-blooded animal. What's the difference between these warm-blooded and cold-blooded? Warm-blooded animals are animals which can have their body temperature constant. Okay, they want a constant body temperature to be maintained so that they can survive. Cold-blooded animals are animals which can deviate there. According to the surrounding, they can change the temperature of their body. Okay, if it is too cold, they can adapt to that situation, they become cold. And when it is too warm, they will be having what? According to the varying temperature, they will modify themselves. So those animals we call it as what? Cold-blooded animals. Warm-blooded animal, what they do? They cannot modify. They should have a what? A constant body temperature. So when you are seeing chondrichthyes are all what? They are cold-blooded animals. Okay. So these are the characteristic feature. Viviparous, oviparous we have already discussed. Viviparous directly giving birth to young ones. Oviparous, they lay eggs hatches out and the young one come out. Okay. So these are all examples of what? Chondrichthyes. Now moving on to the next one is osteichthyes. So chondrichthyes, shark is also coming under that. Okay, osteichthyes, when you are seeing, they are both marine as well as freshwater and bony endoskeleton. Chondrichthyes, they were having cartilaginous endoskeleton, cartilage. This they are made up of bones. Okay, terminal mouth, on the tip you can find, not dorsal, not ventral, on the tip the mouth will be present. Skin is covered by cycloid or ctenoid scale. So this is the structure of what? The cycloid or the ctenoid scale. So that is another characteristics. Air bladder is present, so they can stay in water without swimming for a long time also. Heart is two-chambered, cold-blooded, means their body temperature changes with the temperature in the environment. And sexes are separate. Separate means what? Male and female is separate. Oviparous, they are egg-laying ones, and the development is direct. There is no larval stage. The larva will be resembling the adult. Okay, so like this you can find osteichthyes is having some characteristics. So osteichthyes, Katla, thereafter Hippocampus, seahorse, this one flying fish, labio, magur, all these are coming under what? This osteoichthyes. Now pisces is over. Now we are moving on to the next one. What is that? Amphibia. Okay. So under amphibia, you can see Gnatostomata, under that amphibia. Amphibia, you know, the animals which can live both in water as well as on land, we call it as amphibians. Usually we use as an example as frog, right? So lives in aquatic as well as terrestrial habitat. Body is divided into what? These amphibians, when you are seeing, the body is divided into head, trunk and the whole abdomen. Okay, so you can find the body is usually divided into two, means head and the trunk. The abdomen combined together, the trunk, we call it as what? The combined one. Okay, so they have divided into head and trunk. Clear? Most of them have two pairs of limbs. Okay, some have tails. Tymphanum is present. So in here you cannot find ear is present. There is a membrane like structure present, which we call it as tymphanum, and this tymphanum is the structure, membranous structure, which is helping in hearing. Ear cannot be seen in these animals. Okay, alimentary canal is present, urinary bladder, reproductive tracts, all are opening into a common opening, that common structure through which all these urinary waste, alimentary canal, digestive waste, reproductive sperms and all, when you are seeing, all are coming and joining. It is falling in one particular place, that is, we call it as what? Cloaca. What do we call them? Cloaca. Respiration, when it is in water, it will help in respiring with the help of gills, and the adults, when they are in water, they respire with the help of skin, and when they are land, they will be respiring with the help of what? Lungs. Okay. Heart, 3 chambered, 2 auricle and 1 ventricle. Cold blooded animals, temperature changes with the surrounding temperature, and sexes are separate, that is male and female is different. They are oviparous, means they give birth to first they lay eggs and thereafter the baby hatches out. Development is indirect, which means that metamorphosis is present, which means the larvae is not like an adult. Okay, that is regarding your amphibia. These are all examples of what? The frogs, salamander, okay, limbless amphibians, right? So these are all examples of what? This amphibians. Now moving on to the class Reptilia, creeping or crawling animals, terrestrial, right? Reptiles, you know, lizards, crocodiles, all, right? Body is covered by a dry cornified skin, okay, a form of protein. So dry it is, not that wet. Okay, then tymphanum represent ear. So ears are like tymphanum, you know, membranous ears will be present, which is not that visible like ears, we cannot see it. And heart is usually 3 chambered, excepting crocodile, you can find how many chamber of heart is there, 4 chambered heart is there, that is an exception. Cold blooded animals, you know, they can change their temperature according to the external temperature. Internal fertilization, that is inside the body of the female, the fertilization takes place, not like laying the egg in the water, sperm in the water, fertilization taking place in water, no, it's in the body of the female. Okay, oviparous, egg laying, thereafter development is direct, means directly the younger ones will also resemble the adult, no metamorphosis. Okay, so that is regarding class Reptilia. So you can find these are all coming under what? Reptiles, right? So you can see the diagram, these are all reptiles. Fine. Now the next class is aves, birds. Okay, body is covered with feathers. Forelimbs are modified into wings, yeah, for flying. Hind limbs are used for what? They are having scales and they are modified for walking, jumping, hopping and all they do. Skin has oil glands at the base of the tail, you can find oil glands are present. Long bones are hollow, yeah, the bones when you are seeing it's hollow. Why it is hollow? It should be filled with air, it should be low weight, so that when they fly they are not that heavy that they have to have what? That floating capacity, right? So you can find they have bones which are hollow in nature, air filled, right? 4 chambered heart and warm blooded animals, which means their body temperature should remain constant. By different mechanism they keep their body temperature constant. Okay, what are the mechanism? In the next year you will be learning. Warm blooded animals. Thereafter fertilization is internal in the body of the female. Oviparous, egg laying, development is direct. The young one will be resembling the adult. Okay, so these are aves. any sort of birds you can just see in your surrounding, all are coming under aves. Now moving on to Mammalia. Mammalia, we are mammals. Presence of mammary gland, which is milk producing glands in females. Okay, so that is the characteristic feature of Mammalia. So found in variety of habitats, you can find these mammals are present in different habitats. It can be water, it can be land, extreme temperature places like in ice caps, everywhere you can find what these mammals are present. Have mammary glands. Mammary glands is milk producing glands are present to feed the babies. So that is presence of mammary glands. Have two pairs of limbs. One is the forelimb and another one is the hind limb. Right. Skins are having hairs, hairy. So we also have hairs, isn't it? External ears are present. Ears are visible. You can find the ears. Okay. And heterodont teeth means teeth are different. It's not similar. Homodont, heterodont. What do you mean by homodont? Homodont means all the teeth all the teeth which are present will be same. They will not have different shapes. Then we call it as homo. Hetero means like lizard. If you see, they are having same types of teeth. Now, when you are seeing this heterodont, which means that the teeth are different. Incisors are different from canines, are different from premolars, are different from molars. So all the teeth when you see, they are not similar. Incisors will be like this, right? Canine will be somewhat like sharp, right? And then premolars will be like this, and molars when you are seeing, they will be like this. So they are having different shapes. That is heterodont. And four-chambered heart, two auricles, two ventricles. And warm-blooded, we have to maintain a constant body temperature. We cannot change our body temperature based on the surrounding. Fertilization is internal. Viviparous, sometimes they are giving birth to young ones directly, and the development is direct, which means the young one doesn't resembles the adults, means they are similar, no metamorphosis is present. Okay, so that is regarding the characteristic features of the Mammalia. So these are all coming under the Mammalia. So hope it's very clear. Animals, cellular level of organization, it was porifera, right? Thereafter you can find tissue level of organization, pseudocoelomate as well as pseudocoelomate. Pseudo means what? They do not have a proper body cavity, false body cavity. Coelomate, they are having body cavity proper, right? So under that you can find nematodes, thereafter Annelida, mollusca, arthropoda, coelomate, echinodermata, chordata. Under chordata you had protochordata, and thereafter you can find the vertebrata, main one. Under vertebrata you had pisces, amphibia, reptilia, aves and Mammalia, right? So this chart is not necessary for writing in your notebook as it is there in your text. So all the characteristics still the Mammalia has to be covered. With this we are winding up this chapter. Hope you had a nice time with the chapter and all the concepts as well as the terms are very clear. In case if you are having any doubt, do call me. Thank you.